My name is Keshwani. That's Keshwani. Keshwani. We are here because we want to prepare for the GMAT. We have been solving GMAT math problems out of this book here, GMAT Review, the official guide, the 13th edition. If you do not own this book already, purchase one immediately. You're going to need it. The problem that we are about to solve is the one that you will find on page number 164. Page 164. Today is our lesson number 91. Please turn to it. Page 164. Problem number 85. Problem number 85 on 164. .0036 times 2.8 over 0.04 times 0.1 times 0.003. Listen, the simplest and the easiest and the quickest, the most efficient way to deal with this problem is to count the number of decimal places that appears in the top and the bottom and take the bigger one to multiply the top and bottom by. Watch what happens here. Here's a decimal point right here. For this one, to move this decimal place, 1, 2. In other words, 0.04 times 100 will be 4. This one is just one decimal place. 0.1 times 10 will become 1. This one is 3 decimal places. 1, 2, 3. 0.003 times 10 raised to 3 will give us 3. That shouldn't say 4, that should say 2. That should say 2. Because we are moving 2 decimal places. 1 and 2. Here we are moving just 1. Here we are moving 3. Altogether there are 6 of them. On the top we have 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 1 over here, 5. So let's multiply, since 6 is bigger, let's multiply the top and bottom by 10 raised to 6. 10 raised to 6. So, what's going to happen? 0.004 times 100 is going to become 4. 0.1 right here, 0.04 times 100 becomes 4. That's your 10 raised to 2. 0.1 10 raised to 1, it's going to become just 1. And 0.003 times 10 raised to 3 is just going to become 3. So that's 10 raised to 6. On the top we have 0.0036 times 10 raised to 4. 0.0036 times 10 raised to 4 is going to move the decimal places 4 places. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's going to give us 36. And then we have 2.8. Since this is 10 raised to 4 and here it is, I did it again, it should be 2. And since here it is 6 here, it comes out to be 10 raised to 6 here. We need 10 raised to 6 over there too, so we have to multiply the second one by 10 raised to 2. 2.8 times 10 raised to 2 is same as 28 times 10. So that's what we end up here, 28 times 10. Perhaps I explained too much, but I just want to make sure that that's what it is. That's it, we're done. 4 times 3 is 12. How many 12s in the 36? 36 has 3 12s. That's all it is. So it's basically 28 times 30. 28 times 30. Let's find out what 28 times 3 is. 28 times 3 is 24, carry 2, 6 and 2, 8. So 28 times 3 is 84, times 10 is 840. The answer is A. The answer is A. Let's do one more, shall we? Let's do the next one. I hope that wasn't too much of an explanation, because sometimes I really don't know how far to go. I don't want to leave. I didn't want to just write this thing with no explanation at all and make some people wonder where this is coming from. But hopefully this will help. Let's do next one. 86. In 86, they tell us that A does 120 in 40 seconds, which implies that it must do 60 in 20 seconds. If it's doing 120 in 40 seconds, if it's doing 120 in 40 seconds, then in half the amount of time it must do half the work, 60 in 20 seconds. Let's see what they tell us about B. B, they tell us, does 100 in 20 seconds. So that's convenient. So that one does 100 in 20 seconds, this one does 60 in 20 seconds. So together they will do 100 plus a 60, 160 in 20 seconds. If they're doing 160 in 20 seconds, they must do 1 in 20 over 160 seconds. But we don't want to make just one unit, we want to make 200 units. Therefore, they will do 200 in 20 over 160 times 200. Whatever that works out to be. Let's do it here. 20 over 160 times 200. Let's see what we can do. First of all, let's knock out this 0 with that 0. So now we have a 16 here and we have a 20 here. Let's divide top and bottom by 4. 20 has 5 4s and 16 has 4 4s. Again, I see a 20 on the top and I see a 4 here. Let's divide the top and bottom by 4 again. So it's 5 times 5 or 25. Now this was one way of doing it. Another way we could have done the same thing is to set it up as a ratio problem, which is also very simple. We know they do 160 in 20. So here's the units, and here's the second. They do 120. They do rather 160. They do 160 in 20 seconds. Question is, how long will it take? How long will it take for 200 units? And all we have to do is solve for x. Let's continue here. So this implies that x equals, if you cross multiply, you end up with 160x times 20 times 200. So x equals 200 times 20 over 160. 200 times 20 over 160. That's exactly what we have here. You see, 200 times 20 over 160. Same exact thing. And the same exact process will apply. Let's divide the top and bottom by 10, so we get rid of the 0. Divide top and bottom by 4, 20 becomes 5 and 16 becomes 4. I see a 4 here, I see a 20 there. Let's divide top and bottom by 5, plus by 4. So again, we end up with 5 times 5. So whether you set it up as a ratio problem or whether you do it like this way, it's the same answer. Let's do one more, shall we? Let's do one more. Number 87. I need the room, and I need a lot of room, so we're going to have to erase everything. So that's it, we're done with this guy. Number 87. In 87 we are told that n is an integer greater than 6. N is an integer greater than 6. The question simply is, which must be divisible by 3. Well, the quickest and the simplest way to take care of this thing is to just plug in numbers and see what happens. Don't try to do it in abstract terms, don't try to do it algebraically, just plug in numbers. N has to be more than 6. Let's plug in 7. Okay, so here's the solution. Plug in n equal to, plug in n equal to 7. Answer choice A tells us n times n plus 1 O times n minus 4. Now n is 7, so that's just 7 times n plus 1, which is 8, times n minus 4, which is 3. Now since this turns out to be a multiple of 3, of course this can very easily be divided by 3, the 3 is going to cancel out. So this quantity is divisible by 3 because it has a factor of 3 in it. So that one is not something we can rule out. Let's take a look at B. Let's take a look at answer choice B. B says n times n plus 2 times n minus 1. Remember, our n equals 7. So it's 7 times 9 times 6. We can stop right here. 9 is divisible by 3, and so is 6 as a number. So that one stays. So far we haven't had much luck. So far we have not been able to eliminate anything, which is okay. No need to despair. Typically we are able to eliminate at least 2 or 3 answer choices in the first round. And in the second round we narrow down more and we are left with just 1 answer choice. In the first round we typically knock out 2 or 3 answer choices. In the second round we typically knock out 2 or 3 answer choices, and we are left with 1 at the end of the second round in more than 90% of the time. Very, very, very rarely we have to go to the third round. So n is 7. 7 plus 3 is 10. 7 is not divisible by 3. 10 is not divisible by 3. 7 minus 5 is 2. And 2 is not divisible by 3. So that's not the answer. There you go. You see, we knocked out 1. Let's look at D. D says n times n plus 4 times n minus 2. Remember, n is 7. So 7 times n plus 4 would be 11. 7 is not divisible by 3. Neither is 11 times n minus 2, which is going to be 7. 7 minus 2 which is 5. 5 is not divisible by 3. So none of these factors are divisible by 3. Therefore, the product is not divisible by 3. You see, we knocked out D. Let's look at E. E says, there's 2E over here. E says n times n plus 5 times n minus 6. Remember, n is equal to 7. So it's 7 times 7 plus 5 is 12. As soon as we know 12, we know we're not going to be able to eliminate because 12 is divisible by 3. So that one stays. There's no point in figuring out this one. But anyway. Let's do second round. Round 2. Let's do round 2. So that one was round 1, n equal to 6, or rather 7. In round 1, we knocked out 2 of the guys. C and D are already gone. They are no longer contenders. The contest is now between A, B, and E. Let's plug in round 2. Let's plug in n equal to 8. So A gives us n times n plus 1 plus n minus 4. N is 8. 8 is not divisible by 3. N plus 1 is 9. Ah, blasted. We can't eliminate A. A is going to have to stay. B says n times n plus 2 times n minus 1. N is 8. 8 is not divisible by 3. 8 plus 2 is 10. 10 is not divisible by 3. So far so good. And then n minus 1 is going to be 7. Ah, so that guy is gone. Let's look at E. Let's look at E right here, which is for n equal to 8. N equal to 8. I'm going to continue doing here because this is n equal to 8 here, and the expression is this one: n times n plus 5 times n minus 6. Remember, n is equal to 8 in the second round, so 8 times n plus 3, which is 13. So far so good. 8 is not divisible by 3, neither is 13. And then n minus 6. 8 minus 6 is 2. Oh, what do you know? This is not divisible by 3. So there's your answer. The answer is A. We didn't have to finish figuring it out, but if you wanted to, you could do this. N minus 4 is going to be 4, but that's not the point. The point is 9 is divisible by 3. Therefore, the product of 8 times 9 times 4 is divisible by 3. So that's it. As I told you, we have to do 2 rounds. Typically, in the first round, we knock out 1 or 2 answer choices, and in the second round, we knock out 1 or 2 more answer choices. And in vast majority of the cases, we narrow down to 1 answer choice by the end of the second round. Once in a while, once in a blue moon, I have seen where there is a need to go to third round, but that happens very, very rarely. That's it. We are done for today. I'm not going to do one more. I'll see you tomorrow. Okay? Bye now.